Hey, what is going on, guys? Today's interview is about to be a massive one, guys. We got a former UFC fighter, former MMA fighter, a former WWE superstar, and a current Impact professional wrestler, guys. We got Ken Shamrock, guys. I'm super excited to interview him. I've watched a lot of his stuff back in the day. His times fighting The Rock, fighting Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. Oh, man, he was killing the Intercontinental Champion. I've seen his stuff in the UFC. Dude, he was like in UFC 2. I think the second pay-per-view. I'm not 100% sure, but I was doing a lot of research and I was like, geez, man, like this dude is a legend, dude. Like, so yeah, we dive into a lot of things about WWE, pro wrestling. I even brought up about Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Would you box them? He didn't really seem like he entertained the fact of Jake Paul and Logan Paul being a boxer, so I really didn't want to ask him, would you box him? But yeah, he thinks well, you'll see what his thoughts on that towards the end of this interview, guys. So make sure to drop me one of these, guys. I got Al Snow coming on an interview really soon. I got a few big ones, maybe Mr. Beast. We'll see. That one's gonna. We'll see on that one, But anyways, guys, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I will see you guys at the end of the video. Peace. Oh yeah, I also want to apologize for the blurriness and the little bit lag. For some reason, the internet was messing up and the screen recording was messing up. So yeah, the quality isn't going to be the best, but still you get the great interview and you get the knowledge and just the experience of talking to him. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys still enjoy it with this little campfire in the background. Peace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Ken Shamrock on the line. Ken, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Thank you.
That's good. What have you been doing during quarantine?
Just like everybody else, man. Just having fun, making things up as we go, and enjoying life the best we can.
Oh yeah. So you in the beginning of your whole combat sports career, what inspired you to get into MMA and pursue UFC?
Well, I'm not sure what inspired me, because really I was in group homes and in and out of juvenile hall, and it was just something that I felt like I was doing naturally, fighting and getting in trouble all the time and fighting. And then when I got an opportunity to go do this type of fighting and I was going to get paid for it, it was just like, wow, I'm going to go in and do this and you're going to pay me. So it was definitely enlightening to me to know that I could literally take what I was doing on the street and the fighting I was doing, and now I could put it in a ring and they're going to pay me for it. And I was like, wow, I only got to fight one guy. I'm not going to get stabbed or shot. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh wow. So when you got the call to go over to WWE, did you grow up watching it at all, or was that just pitched to you from your success in MMA?
Yeah, I think it was more my dad. My dad grew up watching it. I watched occasionally when he would put it on. It was entertaining, but I never really followed it. But at times I would watch it. I remember when I was young, I'd actually watched my first wrestling match. It was Pat Patterson and Moondog Mayne, and they used to have some bloody matches. And so that was things that I had remembered from it. But as I got older, I realized, hey, this is not like the real thing. So I kind of strayed away from it. And then I, of course, got adopted by my dad. And, of course, he was a big wrestling fan. And he started watching, so I would watch it a little bit, but not really much into it, because I wrestled collegiately, and then I played football and I boxed. So I was kind of in that direction. But then when it came to a point to where, the MMA world was kind of going, the no holds barred part was stagnant and they weren't really able to get going, I had to transfer my skills into something else. And so my father brought it to my attention, said, hey, why don't you go try and get into pro wrestling? And I put my feelers out to Japan. I put my feelers out to WCW and also the WWF. And WWF jumped on me quick. And I think Vince had an idea of this no holds barred attitude, to bring that into pro wrestling. And as you see what happened, the Attitude Era was created from that. So it was a genius move on Vince's part.
Oh yeah. So with your training with MMA and then even with pro wrestling, is there a similarity with the training? Would you say is pro wrestling as hard as doing MMA, or is it like really easy for you type?
Yeah, I think when people try to compare the two, you can't really, because they're just different. Fighting is obviously, when you go in there, is very difficult to be successful. It is. But wrestling at the same time in its own way is very difficult because there's so many variables. I mean, not only do you have to be athletic and you got to be able to do some pretty incredible things physically, but you also have to be able to act. And then you've got to be able to read scripts and you've got to be able to put scripts with character. And there's just so much to pro wrestling is the reason why I think people have such a hard time when they come from that world of football or wrestling or like a collegiate wrestling or MMA, boxing, that you don't see a lot of guys that are, when they do it, they're not I mean, they're successful to a point, but they're never really the elite success. And I think it just takes an individual with some tremendous amount of ability to do both.
Yeah. Would you ever want to get in the ring with a guy like Brock Lesnar who came from like UFC and or made his name in UFC too and what was it NCAA wrestling? Would you have fun wrestling fighting a guy like that?
Well, I think anybody that's a world champion like myself, I was world champion in Japan, a world champion in the U.S., I was world champion almost everything I did. I think the idea when you're a world champion is that you want to make sure you're going against the best. And so, yeah, absolutely. If he was during my time and where I was at, I would want that challenge. I don't want anybody to second guess whether or not I was the best.
That's good. And then who did you have the most fun working with in WWF in your time?
Man, I was blessed because I worked with Undertaker, I worked with Stone Cold Steve Austin, I worked with Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I mean, the list goes on. I worked with all the top guys, and so I was really, really blessed to be able to have that opportunity, especially being as young as I was going into wrestling, and I had a lot of opportunity to do that. So I was really happy that I got to learn from all those guys. But I would have to say the one that really sticks with me and really helped me build me into the wrestler that I am today was The Rock, because we got to work a program together. He was young. He was just getting started. I was there and I was just getting back into it. And so I think we both really got a chance to push each other and really push each other in the direction that we had to go to be where we're at today. So, yeah, I think that was probably one of my more grateful opportunities because I learned so much working with The Rock, even though I know he was learning from me and I was learning from him. But I thought it did us both very well to be able to work with each other and really develop our character.
Oh, yeah. And then is there a fight in the UFC or MMA that really stands out to you that like would be one of your favorite fights that you've had?
Well, there's quite a bit of them. I think the two that stand out the most. But again, like I said, from the time I stepped in the ring, I was fighting the main event. I was fighting the best because it was so young and I was a champ in Japan and also in the States. So every time I stepped in the ring, I was fighting the best guy. So I had a lot of tough fights in my career. But I would have to say the ones that stick out to me are the ones like with Dan Severn when I beat him to capture the first single fight belt, which all the belts go through that because there was no such thing as a single fight. There were always tournaments. So to capture that one and know that, I was the lineage of that. I mean, I started that single fight. Everything goes through that belt, and I was the first. Whether it was heavyweight, middleweight, lightweight, doesn't matter because we fought everybody, right? So that single fight belt, every single one of those belts go through that belt, and I was the first. So for me, that was special. I would also say over in Pancras when I fought a 2-day tournament and ended up winning the very first mixed martial arts or no holds barred mixed martial arts championship belt in Japan. I was the first to do that. So those are two that are special.
That's awesome. So going into MMA, any like new people who are going to into MMA, do you have to be just blessed with a high pain tolerance, or can you eventually work up to that? Like, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it took a different character with bare knuckle, no rules. It was a different guys, different kind of guys, just tough dudes, because the skill sets weren't there yet. And so I think that now you don't have to be tough as nails. You could be technically sound and win fights and be a champion, and you don't have to be tough as nails. You just be good. So I think the characters and the type of fighters in no holds barred as opposed to what they are today, which is different.
Yeah. So now that you're with Impact Wrestling, how did that all come along with you? How did they approach you with that offer?
I was over in Australia. I made a comeback after I had done some stem cells with BioAccelerator over in Medellin, Colombia, and I started feeling really good. And so I wanted to jump back in the ring, and so I went to Australia, did a show there. Next thing I know, I was there for a while. They kept bringing me back, and then I captured the tag team belts and had a good run there. And so then Impact, we had a little thing going over there with some smack talk back and forth. And then next thing I know, I'm wrestling Moose in a pay-per-view event. And so it was supposed to be a one-off thing. I go in and wrestle Moose, and then all of a sudden I'm there for almost 2 years again. So it was a tremendous run and exciting. I had a great time. And, up until this last match where I kind of went overboard and I beat up a bunch of people, and all of a sudden now I'm outside looking in. I got suspended again. So we'll see what happens from there. I don't know what they're going to do, but I guess I'll just sit and wait and see what happens.
And then, do you have any goals that you want to achieve in Impact at all when you come back?
Yeah, I started out and said that, I wanted that heavyweight belt. I don't think anybody ever gets into anything and just wants to be a part of it. If you're a true champion and somebody that's striving to be the best, your goal is always to get that belt, right? So it's always been my goal ever since I stepped in there. Whether that happens or not, I've got a few more years left for me to be able to compete at a high level. Whether I get that opportunity in those few years, I guess we just have to wait and see.
Well, what was that last thing you said? It cut out.
You set out to go after the heavyweight belt, and that's what I did. I've got about 4 years left, probably at a high level, being able to compete at a high level. But again, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see whether or not that happens.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of your MMA career and with boxing and stuff, have you heard about Logan and Jake Paul and their boxing?
Yeah, I have. And in today's world, it's about tickets and it's about sales. And if Jake Paul could put seats, put people in seats and sell tickets, more power to him. But, man, I just think the people out there that are watching these fights just understand the level of fighters that have been putting their careers out there on TV, constantly training and preparing and living and sleeping and breathing this fighting. And then a guy like Jake Paul comes in and he starts talking all this smack, which is fine because that gets people interested. But people got to understand that the guys that he's barking at, it's not the guy that he fought, the football player or whatever, basketball player, whatever he was. Yeah. He's fighting guys that are fighters now. Oh, yeah. And there's a huge difference between being a journeyman and being a professional fighter. Mm-hmm. Whether this guy's an MMA fighter or not, Haskin, I think it's Ben, right? Ben?
Yeah, Ben Haskin.
So this guy's a professional athlete. He was a wrestler, a stud wrestler. He got in MMA. He did well for himself in the beginning. He's still got a long way to go still. Mm-hmm. And Jake, he's going in against an elite athlete.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to get woke up, I think, in this next fight. I really do. I think he's going to realize the difference between what he was doing and what these levels of fighters are.
Oh, yeah. I know. I saw Floyd Money Mayweather. He said if he beats Ben Askren, then he would entertain the thought of fighting him next. But if Jake did pull out the win with Ben Askren, do you think what will it take for people to take someone like that seriously? Because, he's fought YouTubers and basketball players. Is it one fight with a real fighter? How many fights do you think it takes before you start being taken seriously in the combat sport world?
Well, I don't think you can be taken serious in a combat sport world with one fight. Even if he happens to get Ben, which I I mean, I can't see it. I mean, I don't know Jake, so I don't know. From what I've seen of him, I don't see it. But you never know, right? Anybody can get lucky, catch a punch, or after Askren's quick knockout with one of his fights, maybe he's got a glass jaw. So I don't think you could take anybody like Jake serious until he puts in a couple fights with some ranked fighters. Then you could start going, okay, maybe this guy's serious. I like what Mayweather's doing, though. If he does happen to get past Ben, why not? It'll sell tickets, right? And it'll be an easy fight for him. So why not?
Oh yeah, his Jake's older brother Logan. They were gonna be fighting. Floyd and Logan were gonna be fighting on February 20th, but it's getting postponed because of the COVID reasons. And I heard that they said on the podcast that broke like a pre-sale pay-per-view buys. So, I mean, why not Floyd take it? He's gonna make a lot of money, and it's pretty easy for him in a way.
It is. I mean, you're talking about one of the best to ever do it against a guy that's, he's a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. Jake's a tough guy, right? But it's, like I said, you don't really see it until you see two guys in the ring together that are both, one's a tough guy and one's an elite athlete.
Yeah. And then my final question to you is, after you said you had like 4 more years in Impact, do you ever plan on coming back to do one last match in WWE or even a Hall of Fame induction? And do you think that's something on your bucket list before you retire from pro wrestling?
Say that, I didn't get that. What was that?
So you said you had like 4 more years left with Impact. When your career is finally up, do you feel like, would you be down to do a one last match in WWE or even do a Hall of Fame induction?
Yeah, I don't know how long I've got with Impact. Like I said, I got suspended indefinitely, so I don't know where that ends. I don't know if I'll be back there. It's up to them to decide what my future holds. So I just sit and wait. But I'm open. I've always been open because, like I said, I'm living life. I feel like I'm in good shape. I feel like I could still go and I can compete at a high level. I don't want to go fishing. I don't want to go hunting. I don't want to travel. I like what I do. And so as long as I can keep doing it, I'm going to do it. And so WWF is definitely always there. Other organizations that are out there that have good matches for me, depending on who the opponents are, I'm open to that too. So I'm definitely going to wrestle, and I'm going to stay out there and keep doing it.
That's good. Have you seen any of Roman Reigns' work at all?
Yes.
Really? Now that he's a bad guy, it's like he's got he's just stepped up so much, and he's like on the top of his career right now. I think you and Roman could have a really good work match together. I think that'd be really entertaining.
Yeah, there's a lot of good talent out there, especially in WWF, NXT, Impact Wrestling, AEW. There's just so much talent out there, right? And even Rings, even though it's gone down a little bit, there's still some talent there. So there's, like I said, wrestling has got a lot of talent out there. So I look forward to what happens in the future and who I'll be wrestling.
You think it's easier to get into like UFC and pro wrestling in this day and age with social media and all of that, or do you think it's harder because of how many talent is really out there now?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's not easy. You got to be really good, and so it's not like before where you can go to an organization and you can get there even if you're not that good. I think the talent is so strong out there, even in these lower organizations, that if you're not really that good, you're gonna get squashed, and you're not gonna have much of a career. So that's why I always tell people, man, make sure you get with a reputable organization or a company or gym, so that way you can learn all the nuances to help you get your character over. Or otherwise, you're gonna get ended before you get started.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this interview with me.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day, Ken.
All right, you take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Right now, I hope you guys did enjoy that video. If you guys did, make sure to hit one of these from me, a thumbs up, guys. Subscribe, turn on your post notifications to stay updated with all of my interviews, even some reactions here and there, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, Ken. It was an honor talking to you and getting to pick your brain about the world of MMA and pro wrestling and all that good stuff, guys. So let me know what your favorite part of this interview is. Let me know some other wrestlers you want to see me interview, and I will see you guys all later. Peace.